When you set up row-level security, it's a good idea to test to make sure that it's working the way you expect. You can do this in remote models that you're working on in Tabular Editor 3 by impersonating a user or a role. I'll show you how to impersonate a user so that you can validate your dynamic row-level security rules. In the space parts model, there's a lot of very flawed logic, so it's good to be able to go through it and check things. For example, there's all these different roles for these different directors and managers, the users who are going to be looking at the report. If we wanted to test, for example, the account manager's role, for example, the table permission for customers, an easy way to do that would be to just preview the customer's table and then to impersonate a particular user. In this case, I'm going to set up an impersonation for myself, datagoblins.com, and then it's going to automatically filter that data. So what I've actually done is I've set up a spoof so that I appear as Glanderock Lightheart, in this case the account manager, by making a modification to the employees table where I change the email to my own email in order to validate it. So in the employees table, what we actually have here is we have the various names and emails of the employees, which we're using for our dynamic row-level security rules. And if we filter now to Glanderock, which is what we were looking at, we can see that I changed the email to my own email, which you can see here, although the email is probably blurred out. And this allows me to validate the row-level security rules so that I can see what it would look like if Glanderock, in this case, was looking at the data from the semantic model. Now this works with preview data, which is a good thing to do when you're testing the table permissions, so you test it on the actual table itself. But it also works with pivot grids and DAX queries. So if I want to create a new DAX query, I can create a DAX query that's, for example, going to just do a simple summarize columns over the customers, the account name, and then I'll add the account manager, and then I'll add the number of customers, and then we can execute this query. So here we can see that we're looking at data from multiple account managers, multiple key accounts, basically all of the customers. But again, when I impersonate the user, now I can only see the data for Glanderock in this case. And this can be especially useful when you're testing the actual DAX queries extracted from visuals, so you can save these queries and streamline this process. And it's very useful. Now, in order to do this, you need to already take care of a few prerequisites. First of all, you already have to have RLS configured. Second, you need to add the user to the security role in Power BI. And third, you'll have to give the users both view and build permissions to the model. Now, this is why I'm testing it with an alternate account of myself, because I might not necessarily want to give build permissions to the user just to be able to test this. So I changed that email to my own from an alternate account in order to test it. This can be a great tip for when you want to validate and test the row-level security rules for your semantic model, and it's something that's also pretty straightforward and convenient to do. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.